na nindakimenya ni wakigua wega wagicanjamuka ndia tugire ndereti itu ya keri ya muthenya wa umuthi ira ndenda gukuoya imwe kwa imwe ndiramenya mataturiri ya Kirinyaga ikoragwo ari iriku no ndia tuthie turugame nginya kuria Kirugoya kana Kirinyaga Central tucemanie na njamba njethi kuma mwena ucio na tuko tukirora horo wa mugambo wa andu ethi ndiramure ni ngumuhe kanya mundu agoka hake yaria akariria andu akagia na kanya ga kuria nginya iturwa cia utongoria wi mwanake wi muiritu araniria na na baito SMS ni igire inyanya mwanake ratuhingurira mwaka wa kana tabarira no mwaka uyu ni mundu gwitwo wa ng'ombe ko bana ati avai
ni kwega muno
niguo tukaithanagia kuria kwanyu
niguo tukiithanagia na ndirenda kuga thank you muno ni kumbe kanya gaka
yes
na ona ndigicokeria andu akwa Kirinyaga Central ngatho muno ni ndimwendete muno o baria muri mumenye uguo ni tondu wanyu ndi aba na ona ndikire muciari wakwa tondu tambe unjize ndingikinyite aba tako Pastor Joseph Maina wa kula Deliverance Church Kirugoya na Pastor Margaret Maina ndi na ngatho nyingi muno ni undu wa kithomo kiria mumbete na kundwara kanitha na kundua mundu ngai amurathime muno yes sir
karibu sana orege
thank you so much
we jabaje
niguo
na niki wikaga hihi wakamwira ona nyambite gukuria ru hau hanyu tondu no anjira aciari aku hanyu hetagwo atia no ambe unjire niki wikaga
niesa ngoreto ndi cukuru tondu ndakithire cukuru Kirugoya municipality ngicoka ngithi cukuru etagwo Jufred ngithie Njiri school ngivituka wega ndageire eci othe ndi mundu mugi ngicoka ngikithie gwika electrical engineering kuria Technical University of Mombasa
okay
na ekenjuga university ni njega tondu
wanyitite kila kindu nginya mathabu
niyo fire ndi mwaki mani urona uguo ndiraria ndi ivero
mando ba Kirinyaga gege kai
niguo riu ngikiona atiriri uyu ngai ambete ti wega ati thie njethe wira wakwa nyiki ngai abingurite meciria makwa na njira njega niketha mbote kuona mathina na ngamathondekera solutions so ndakithi Njiri school ndakithi Technical University of Mombasa ngikika electrical engineering no wega wa university maita maingi uthiaga kumenya maundu mangi utari wamenya ati ngai ni akubete kibeo kiamo ndakithi ku ngigituika CU chairman tondu ni ndiragi coordinate andu makibote ukibunjia tukakithie evangelism so ni ndingoro ya andu ni nyendete andu I love people uona ungikinyona andu akirinyaga Central wendo uria makoma nyendete no tugukiarangia
ni rajabia kogo muno ni umete family na uhoro wa utungata wa ngai muno na makiria na iyo ni guteithite ukinya hau ukinyete no ni kwenda ujire kwanyu ni ha Kirinyaga ha
ni undiariro gisagi gitagwo gia Kaitheri my father no pastor in fact all my relatives my uncle all then ni pastors kuna umwe akiri kula Deliverance Church zima maneta go Pastor Dedan Theuri ungiari Karati na Calvary Temple etago Pastor Peter wa Ng'ombe so na ekengwire wega wotongoria kuma kanitha sa ni ati ni ukwira anduma utekumabenia no utegutumira mbia so nikyo ndendire kuthina mweno ucio wa kanitha na nikyo rona nie tondu ngoreto ngithi door to door ekengwire bona githinji ngoragwo ndi mweru ni kuira ndiririre ni kubeanirio nima na undu uyu ni tondu ni umite ngoro tondu ngoreto ngiumira door to door for 213 days thikumagana meri ma 13 gutegutiganire
kariki urenda na njira nguhi
riu ni ndronire atiriri wanji kundoragio kiria arenda na meciria ma andu aingi gutuika amuria njira ndoraga ndirona atiriri vandu va kuthiaga ta gwiciria ta mundu umwe uguo ngitithia andu akirinyaga Central ndumorie kiria marenda tondu onawe ungithi ku ndagitari no nginyo mwire uraturo niba niketha amenye gukuthondeka atia no ndagitari ndayuka ati onjie kuoyo macini ni gukuigirira ni egukuthukia no akiona so ni ndirakiuga atiriri nguthi ku wanjiko na ekengwire ndimoi nginya na maritwa I'm not ndibana ati atongoria ari angi muonaga andu macakaya na kanitha ndimoi uthi baria wathimigie-ine ni njui kwa Richard wa tiri waikuruka na kuria kwa Teresia wa Kabangi wambata na kuria Kimande ni njui kwa Ngue emwe njui kundu kuothe na mari guti sosoro one emwe sosoro tondu ndiaga maguru
mundu ro gukuhura ko njuri atiriri niki kiratuma mundu cia kirego thina mbere no hunjia tondu akimite family yo hunjia ciria gutuika mutongoria niki ronire kirira gutuika tondu rego renda gitike MP wa Kirinyaga Central
we ungithoma mara kirikaniro wega mubango wa ngai kuma kiambiriria wari andu wa ngai matongoragie nongo magioka akieberia bau tondu no ngithoma Bible kuothe andaundi othe mari o andu angai mari they were prophets. So na guti mundu aibota gutungata andu wega atena ngoro ya ngai tondu ngai niwe mutungata wa mbere. So no tondu ngai agitwitaga ngurani na ibinda riri andu nimekuthurwa andu ngai, and I'm telling you the truth. Tondu nini ngoreto ngikithima cinani mathina maria mekuo ndagikeno utena meciria mandandu kuma ria ngai atakubete ndwitobora.
Reke nguri atiriri ndiona wi mundu mwithi wanjira wi mundu mwithi na nikio ngwitire haha. Ni mathina mariku matatu urona maragi andu akirigo ya Central?
Well, number 1, thina umwe ni kwaga mawira. Eke ngwire tondu ndiite miciio yothe aciari maumaga rucini mucii magatigana ke mucii. Riu ndakithi tondu ndirakithi na ndotu ndona tukandi twakwa twa mburaki ona nio mambeaga mbia na muthi na mbere ngai amurathime muno. Tukandi tu ngirtiga ndirakorwo o mwana kiotani na ona niketha ndugame muciari arokaga kanjira wa ng'ombe nukono wonere mwana wakwa kanya no wega aro mucii. Riu ngikirigwa atiriri ndagiikara uguo makiugaga if you are not part of the solution you are part of the problem. Riu ngikiuga atiriri ngai arambe kanya gaka njigwe maundu maya niketha ndimacenjie. Na riu ndirakiuga atiriri number 1 anake kwaga mawira.
Okay.
Number 2 ni mbasari. So ni undu very very critical. Na ni urona uguo ngiaria ndi muteti namba 1 na ndembia umenye uguo niko ndimera
ndembia nikuga ndibia ngoiga ndembia nikuga ungiga kiambu-ini ri ugagito kiambu ndembia ukwendeka tari na mbia
tondu riri uteti ndembia ni kibeo. Na niyo ni njui wega na ni moi wega andu akirinyaga Central guti muteti ono mwe toni tuthiete namo maibota kundu toteti apana.
Okay, thina wake ni basari. Basari leo kudili nayo atia?
Okay, wira wa mutongoria saa ona we ongitwika MP umuthi. Ube ombiria mutongoria beagwa. Ndwire mogwaka irathi na kugaya basari. As long as omundu mwibokeku. And that is a fact. And othe marathikiriria magie kumenya. Wira wa mutongoria ni kubotumira kibeo giaku gioteti. Ona icio beto ni thirikari ciaga kuigana. Uketha ingi tondu nita musta mwanake waku kana mwana waku ndingiuka kuri we umuciari nduri wanjira ati ndumbia niwe umenyaga uguo gucietha na umutongoria umuciari wa andu othe. Riu ni ndiraugire umboro wa mbere na ambasari number 1 tondu ta muteti uthiaga ukarora andu ukarora thina uyu andu aya menaguo ni mbio kwetho mateithie nacio kana ni uteti ugutwara niketha mateithike. So number 1 ndirauga nguthondeka foundation. Ni njui kuiguithia andu my friend. Ni ndengi kuikaria thi ngwire kuna andu kirinyaga Central matarathoma ona ni ukumbembi
uratuiguithirie na urahota guka
na ndirabota guka
menya uratuiguithirie na urahota guka koguo basari
riu nguthondeka foundation na ni ngathia kuiguithia andu personally ngamera marete mbia tondu kuna andu akwa kirinyaga Central matarathoma.
Koguo wa mbere wanjira thina wakwaga mawira acoka waka basari thina ungi.
Okay, thina ungi ndengi kiuga uria dominant muno kirinyaga Central na niguo no maundu maya mothe mararivolve ni maundu makabwa na sai. Tondu andu acio ni marutaga wira ndimaboyaga kura nginya masani ni morie ne megukwira thiaga magitua masani ngamaboya kura thie magitua kaboa ngamaboya kura tondu tuibota kumenya ruo rwa mundu ucio tiga thio mwaririe bau ari akuna ndongituika gati ukathiaga ukanitha na te uri gukithi kanitha waragiria andu na nduramariria nduimenya murigo wao na ruo rwao. Riu ni ngoreto ngithi ku ndikari koti kamburu na ni makoi ndiaga na koko saini kabuini no akiona ngimaragiria makanjira wa ng'ombe sayu turimaga fertilizer ni mbaisu. Riu ndirauga atiriri number 1 ndathi ku ni guteta oboro ucio tondu bau no nginya tuingerio teti no akiona
horo wa fertilizer
kubaisa ebaisire ona andu matinge bota nginya kurima kuona maciaro. Number 2 ni irio cia ng'ombe na mairio cia iria irio cia nguku ona arimi nguku gutiki ndu marona akuna. Riu twagituika ati no kurora
ndukathiukirwo
ni gukuonia murigo na ndinaguo wao.
Haya tareke njoke ndiuria atiriri ni ngapiri kurona iho yo tongoria warora ona atiriri niki gutekitwo.
Okay, akenjugia aria marivo ni mekite wega kuringana oboti uria ngai amabete
niguo
no ta muciari onawe bona githinji utwaraga mwana waku cukuru njega gukirera wathomeire niketha akabota gukinyukia ikinyo tabotire gukinya na riu ni tuthomire na ni tukire na niketha nikiora igwa wa ng'ombe cereirie nacio ndiracira cera maguta ni cera mwaki tondu cera ici ciumite oku wanjiko na wanjiko uyu niwe aramenya kiria arabatara. So undu ungi ndiraugire na kubembe unje the wira tondu ni kindu gitagwo equitable sharing of resources kugayania maundu maya turabeo na njira njega niketha mbeu njithi no yone wira masukuru maya makago mabeago andu tere kana atatu make masukuru macio ndirauga niyo ta wa ng'ombe mwanake ucio athomete civil engineering wa Kiandieri niwe ngubi yake cukuru ya Kiandieri ona andu a Kiandieri moni atiriri mena mwanake wa wareka atia arekondu uri onge wa kuria Kimandi uri onge wa kuria Mutira Kagumo uri onge wa Mutito the same thing niketha anake ona ungibota gwaka kirathi ni wabota kubingurira mwanake ucio mirango
tareke ngurie muri ta ndwe thiri niki muraga niki riu twatwari horo wa mathina ma Kirinyaga Kirugo Central mathina ma andu etheri ona tari common nginya kundu guothe constituency yaku imwe ya iria tunaite ni mathina mariku maragia andu ethi guku bururi-ini na makiria nginya inyuĩ rĩu tari muri andu ethi niki muraga
ake ngwire ku lose hope ni kindu kiuru muno tondu Bible twiraga hope deferred maketh the heart sick wirigiririo urendaga gukinyaniria waga gukinyanira ni ukurwaragia ngoro na guti murimo muru gukira wa ngoro tondu mundu ucio no kiugo kia Ngai kingi muteithia riu ndagike no ngithikirugwa anake makorago maiyurite baria stage anake ucio ni mathomithitio na CDF yes no CDF ndikubota kube mwanake ucio wira tondu no nginya wicirie na njira nene ogwa anake ame kugia wira no akiona guti muciari arenda kuthomithia mwana amucokerere baria mucie tondu mwanake mucie no murite murigo gwake wiki nginya ku muciari na nginya aria me thutha wake marakirigo ndirakithoma niki na ngugicoko aba mucie
kuratika muri andu ethi mutirenda kunoga kuratika rikarire yanyu miakeno yanyu mutirenda kunoga mwina entitlement ni murenda kindu na gitwike ni kianyu na murenda gutonga na ihenya
niyo ekengwire munogerero yanogete Ngai baba andu thini yo mambeaga lift mangora bara tondu ni monete na nikyo ndirugiria atiriri why I'm different from all other candidates not only in Kirinyaga Central to Kirinyaga Central wiki but Kenya ngima ni tondu niyo ndi ndumiriri I am a message kuri anake acio mareciria no matia makoro na degree na matengeruta wira tondu ni andu ni monete kio giakwa na ndirario ngutono ni njui njukagira 6 ngacoka 6 ona nguogo ni olimat masani marori mandu a musaina magiaka kiria na ndo acio Ngai nigo nitaenda kumauga matikabuto wira
na makoya lift
tondu matikiagie gwika uguo no riri andu acio mareka uguo niki andu thi marangua bure niki ni tondu utongoria ni makiria mambia ni gwikira andu kioneki na magakinyita
riu tari ungithi waririe jeshi haria mutituri mutitu ni hoi kana haria mukinduri kana haria mukinduri uthi waririe jeshi umitigaga uguo
ona niyo imbeaga mbia ona mabeaga mbia ni ateti makangaira nona ndimeraga ukabe maito magana meri ukabe kiga magana meri ukabe wa ng'ombe kibao ni ketha arutithie tukandi turia twake na ni mambeaga na mwanake umwe ona njui ambete mbia wa nduthi tondu ucio ni ciake ni mwanake etagwo Steve akoragwo bara kibingo ni mutongoria wa kanitha wa ACK mwanake ucio ngithi maguru ambeire 50 ngure thambutha ai mwanake unge tuna kuria ndunduri na kuria ndunguri kama ona kanini kaiga no kero kinjira wa ng'ombe ni ugutobora nie kengwire guti undu wa mbutire gukira ucio ngimwira ona ni ugagetuika MP kinjira azani ndrenda gutuika father no point ni riri uko mwanake wa miaka 6 ni aramenya wa ng'ombe mwanake ucio te gukimubembia no kiria wa ng'ombe areka nikiramube meciria ati nginya muturiro wake no aucenjie uguciria andu ethi ugudakorda kuria wa marora solution ni omena ka ne thirikari okay eke tuge kuna mutongoria ugire ndugene cirio ugo thirikari egugwikira wicirio ugo gwikira thirikari so nani ta wa ng'ombe nikyo ndirugire ni ngwanjia nani na ni impotete kumumbiraizia na kera manjekagira campaign ngamaiguithia atiriri guko uteithio ni okuma na ithwe tondu tutethia cukuru ni ketha tucoke omuci tuthia ni ketha tumenye ugo tuibota gucenjia maundu na ekenjiria aikaria Kirinyaga Central matuko ni macenjio zaidi ti oboro ati angangania kanangania hapana ongirora Kenya ngima gutimba election yone mwe bwana Githinji ekito mbeo njetheta thurito not even one atwira go dalili ya mvua ni mawingu oni thwe Kirinyaga Central wa ng'ombe ni aratonya bau ni boturi tondu ni murakiona na ni meguka bana ni ukumeta na murore wega
menye kinyara muracindana no ngo mareha
marete
othe no ngo mareha na ndimorie ciuria no tareke nguria
na utite na ona 20 cera wone ngumeka
ni hiukagirwo
ari ndibiukagiro undu uria utumaga mbiukiro ekenjuge atiriri ni kuona andu mendaga kubuthira andu ari angi ekengwire tondu ni ngoreto ngithinga andu mendaga kubuthira andu ari angi ekengwire tondu ni ngoreto ngithinginya matura ngai baba andu amwe mekagira andu siasa ati marekira mutongoria muna siasa ungiona muturire ora meikaraga nginya ngariko kai mutongoria uyu na andu aya ni akui kai utameciragia ngai unajua macio ni maundu maria matumaga mbiukiro tondu riri kubuthira mundu ukaigua twekire ng'ania siasa miaka 20 no arona mutongoria ucio warona muturire wa mundu ucio ukaigua tha na ni ndirauga atiriri andu aria makanjikagira siasa na ngai andeithie na mbe ugi ucio na kwinyivia ku nini magaikara ona wero mundu ni ekaga na wa ng'ombe siasa ukona kweli mundu ucio muturire wake ni mucenjiu tondu muturire wa mundu nducenjagio na mbia
niguo haya ihoro wa riri na gikirikiuria ngoretwo ngiuria andu othe mokaga hano ndimoragie kiuria giki kwina maundu maingi kwina nginya
technology muturire wa mundu nducenjagio na mbia ucenjagio na kioneki haya uhoro wa technology uria murahuthira maundu maria meku na mieke ya mawira na mieke ya iku ya maundu tondu kuratika mbeu njithi aingi uguo wanjira maikarite hau matereire ati mundu ruka kumanengera kindu kumacina kimi na gwata kona kioneki kiega gucoka guka kimundu kingi na ndaiga kimundu na with all due respect amanengere bia tharwania kioneki giaku ngwire bagona ndiretigira ni moke to ni nguretera ucio ni macinane ona ndiri na thina macine ivio tondu ona mbizo no ciao tondu ni ngukiruta kona ni igwa marakigaya makambe no undu uria uboni riri mundu ndai gukua na nduthi abuthire maguta make mundu ndai kubeirio abuthire mbia ciake atatuite ni we kubekura tondu mundu atwaraga mbia ciake bari ngoro yake ri
correct so haya githomo giki wathoma electrical engineering na ugicio na withi waku ugiteithia mundu wa kirigio ya central na njira hana tigweta kunyithania maundu mau atia mateithia mundu wa kirigio ya central na makiria mundu mwithi ura gukaira na rora inspiration kuma kuri we
well undu mwe na electrical engineering tuthomithagio to be problem solvers mundu wa kugia thina na kuthondeka number 2 tuthomithagio ku design maundu from scratch utuge ni wabe filters analog filters itago digital filters ukero o design leo ni yoi mesiria macio ni maundu maria mabata ukoni uguo ungibota kuona thina na uethere ndawa na nikio wonaga ona atongoria ingi aria me utongoria-ini oringi o matekete political science ingi oringi urakora leo ringi ni engineer ungi ni ndagitari tondu vata uria munene wa kithomo nego kuonio uguo ngibota guteithia matura maku so ni rire ndakithire university ngikithie ngikiona kuna mathina manene gukira makwa riu ndagituika ati ndirakithio gukithoma tinjuke riu okite uru gugika uguo na nikio ni ndingurani na ekende mwire andu akirinyaga sento thoni njoi ni murathikiriria mathakaro ore riabeiro kanya emwiritu nikio muthi aragia Kenya ngima na no nginya twirore muno tubembe unjithe ya kirinyaga sento tondu ni njui gutia andu kundu kungi andu me oge gukira kirinyaga center ono ngirora KCP results tumagira tu wa mbere so by that virtue twagi ukoni ithu turatongoria bururi uyu no nginya mumbe kanya tene na undu ungi niketha mumenye ngurani yakwa na andu aria o matetirie gitinikirira mari mbeu njithi undu uyu ni murigo ringi mautugire ke twambe twethembia tuke no mundu ena murigo ekengwire ona mubunjia ndetagirira ona agure thuti anjagia muthenyo ucio abe okibeo
magoro matheri
exactly
wamenyire no utongorie kana ni kwita ikana ni gwitwo
ekenjuge tondu wa guciaro na family ya abunjia kuna maundu ta muciari ukoraga ni maciarikaga thiini waku tondu kengwire uko ku andu meimaga ngai baba ni abunjia na ngai amurathime muno ona andu aria mathia kanitha matimenya monaga mubunje kirite thuti no matiramenya mathina maria meimaga ugakora gukoni ite mubunje niwe wa mbere kugura no ndemwira ona ite nyingi ungethi kanitha ugukora ne mubunje arutire mbiria nyingi ungethi kanitha gwaka kanitha mubunje niwe arutaga iria nyingi so ungeikara na mundu tocio ni ukoraga undu ucio ni urakuingira tondu mubunje amba gutumikira kanitha atari aresiria
correct
so ukona atiriri riu ni ndagiciaro na undu tocio no teti ucio ngikiona mubunjia nyarabota kuoya mundu akamwaga kuma nothing na mundu ucio agatwika kindu riu bau nibo ndakirutire ngoro yo tungata
correct
so nikyo ekenjuge bau nibo ndakirutire mo
haya tereke nguria kile niki kiratuma andu ethi amarika makwere metha kidogo mararega kuya kura niki ukora tikati andu ethi matiro ya kura
akwa kirinyaga centrum maroya muno ni undu wa wang'ombe muno ukonge
no kwa kuni maroya
muno tondu ni maramenya wang'ombe
tature fata ukoro na andu ethi utongoria-ini fata ukoro na andu ethi mbeu njithi utongoria-ini weka mathabu na wa waikia maitho ni ndio no urakirora.
Okay, number 1 ni meciria macio mandando kugo njugire tondu ta muciari uguo ndikiugire o ringi guti muciari atwara mwana ugukora aciari othe matwarire ciana ciao cukuru nja ya gumakira and mekaga uguo ni ketha ukabota kukira ikiro iria makirire so ni ona uboro wa mbeu njithi othe ngiveoka no ngirora parliament iria ikuo the best performing MPs othe ni anake matongoretwo ni ndindi nyoro wa kuria kiaru ugikora ona babu ino na vituko ciake ona ke ararankirwo among the best mwanake uria wa miru nake and was elected at the age of 23 ni ekite maendeleo na matari mona so na ekende mwira andu akirinja sente gukwo ni muruga ni muonete maendeleo muko mona na wang'ombe
aya kiri guthomera ndumiriri cia andu aria marakwirorera ni twaguthikirira ntwakuria ciire reke ngwire andu aria marakwira he murata wakwa wa Kirinyaga witagwo Timothy Murage Timothy Murage ni kuri marimaga aranjira atiriri Gandeo ni njega muno mikethie muno
ndakiithika
kogo cyo no Akirinyaga
ya kurathime Timothy
haya mundu ngiacoka njira atiriri etagwo irungu goko salimia ukijana I'm so proud of him I wish him the best
thank you so much
haya mundu ngiacoka njira atiriri njitagwo Jack wa Kameno Ward Thika MCA aspirant I love the energy ya wana youth wenzangu as aspirants tell him to keep strong MP aspirant wa ng'ombe na ndimuhe namba yako nigwa njira etagwo Jack wa Kameno Ward Thika MCA aspirant haya mundu ngiacoka njira atiriri njoroka wa githiji geithia wa ng'ombe ni wagutu gicagi haitu hetagwo kiburu kuria Faricho ni Faricho kiburu itheti hare tana kinya Faricho umite ha waingirire hare hawa mwega hetagwo hawa mwega niki by the way Wango ni haraihu na hako kune ndia ndakuria ndia ndahota gukuria kundu kuraihu
no ndirakithi ngikimenyaga maturo uguo kabora tondu kithii na maguru uguo ndungikiaga gukimenya kundu
atareke nguria atiri ni utakukirwo wira wa MP wega wira wa MP niki
wira wa MP actually major ni uteti riu mundu arathi gukira mbunge ona rimwe ona nindikirigaga tondu riri tondu CDF kayo rakigaya thiko cigana na ni njega na ni ngumigaya wega na ni ngwaka irathi njega muno kwanja muno na igwa ko ni anake anyu no uteti tondu uboro ucio ndauga wa kabwa uboro ucio wa sai ucio ni uboro no nginyo thie kuria mbunge utete na kwindu kira ndokire kumenya ndi cukuru rira mwarimu okaga kirathi mundu uri aragia muno niwe afuatagwo ni mwarimu uria ni mtogoka mathabu thaigiri uria kuga ugo ni gukuthie riu ona mbunge ni gukorwo kubana mundu na mumenya andu angai tutigukorwo thirikari-ini ibinda riri roka so bau nibo barabatara uteti more than any time before tondu eke twarie ma tutiramenya tugukigwa mwena uriku na ndigukienda kwariria maundu macio makiria
na ndienda gukuria mauma andu acio anene tondu ni ndienda gukwenda we mwendu kiumbe
exactly no riu umenye tutigukorwo thirikari-ini tondu ta mugikuyu riu tutigukorwo na ni kurakioneka uguo so ukoko na binde kurendekana mundu angibota kuruirira andu a Kirinyaga centru ni riu
haya thank you muno na nderogogeithia ni andu a Kirinyaga muno ni manjira ngeithire njambe ya gwitu na ni wekaga muno ni kurehe mwanake wa gwitu
niku thank you so
na ndio ngenda kwira mwiroreri ndienda urore kamera eno wire mundu wa Kirugoya na Kirugoya centru kaundu
niku
hi mare utanahota kwaria na kaundu we ungeta mwire kaundu karego karoka mecirini maku thaici
okay ndenda kwira mwiroreri wothe wa Kirinyaga centru number 1 ni ngatho cia mwanya muno na ni undu wanyu nikyo ndi yaba umuthi na undu ungi andu aria makoretwo makingua na nduthi aria makoretwo makingua na marori na maundu maria mangi mothe ngai amuthathime na amwambararie na giki ni kionererio na ni ngai ambete murigo uyu
niguo
ukonda njiririe June kuthie na micii and within 6 months day no TV andu angai na ndaingira bau ndaingira bau ndina thabari ndaya muno ya kuthie
thank you riu thino ratene go mathaa maitu ni mathira ndeka cia tamakadeka ni ciathira
aba yonjete ringi
nitugugwita ringi tugwita na aria murahuranira nao kiu nigetha muke tutigire ati mundu wa Kirugoya central ni agira na mundu riu kahinda ka mathaa maitu ni mathira kama ona ndikwenda urikiuria tondu mathaa maitu ni mathira ndira gutwara mwiroreri imwe kwa imwe nginya kuria igoti-ini ria Supreme no tombe tuone kidogo ni hindi jaji aigoti ya Supreme maraingira ririkana igoti riri kuria gwa Supreme kuri ona uhoro wa cira wa BBI muthenya wa keri wa guthikiriria ira nigo rambiririe cira ucio ruo muthe no tugwithi tukiguaga andu miene tiganite na tukumatiga kuo no reke tombe tukihe kanya ugie uhoro na kama gukoro wakiuga kaundu
wa ng'ombe.
Yes sir.
We mwega.
Ndi mwega muno sir.
Ngorani yaku na aria ngene iriku?
Ngorani yakwa na mpe mwe ni nyendete Ngai. Ya keri ndi mpe unjithi. Ya gatatu ndi urume. Na ya kana ni nyendete andu. Niguo.
Ni kwirwo wiritwo guka ni kwira kana undu we urona?
Ni kwira ona miario yakwa ni kwira. Tondu mundu amenyekana na miario yake. No rume uria araria na miario ye.
Thengi na wageni. Njoroge uri mwito ringi.
Niguo ona ndero ne ndona ciriri rorio. Haya ni turenda njamba icio ucio ni mundu wanyandikira uguo ndana njira ritwa riake. Murito bida ndigicoke wake unit ya njira geithia wa ng'ombe muno na ni akenio ni courage yaku. Reke ngwire gucio no tutini ubataraga mundu akorwe na ucamba na urume mwingi muno. Wacoka kuria Kirinyaga ugeithanie Kirinyaga na ndukarige no niguthi haria na ino ni ndengeri ndagutuma in person
niguo
uthie haria kirugo ya haborithi ukore deputy OCS witagwo Kimiti
niguo
Steven Kimiti na no ngo muri kana cia Kenya
ai
no gukwira ndina kauru nigetha ndenda gutiga mwiroreri kuria igoti riria Supreme kuria kwina cira wa BBI rathi na mbere koguo reke turekire ho nitukona naye muthenya wa ruciria tafarira ya inoro rucine.
Together with my learned friend Mr. Mohamed Nyaoga, Senior Counsel, Mr. Kirago Kimani, Senior Counsel, and Jacqueline Chamngeno. On behalf of the 20th respondent, my lords, we have filed 3 important documents. The first document is the respondent submissions dated and filed on the 22nd of December 2021. The second document is the case digest dated and filed on the 22nd of December 2021. And the last document is the list and the bundle of authorities dated 22nd of December 2021. From the outset, we wish to confirm that the 20th respondent supports the appeal by the Honorable Attorney General and fully adopts the argument filed and already highlighted in support of the appeal by the Counsel for the Attorney General. Your Lordships recall that you identified 7 issues that should be addressed by Counsel to you, and out of the 7 issues, we wish to address the court on 2. The first issue we want to address the court on is, can civil proceedings be instituted against a sitting president? The second issue, my lords, that you'd like to address is, can the president initiate changes to the Constitution by popular initiative? My lords, I will address you on the first issue, and my learned friend Mr. Kiragu Kimani will address you on the second issue. As we open our case, we make this bold proposition, my lords, that the Court of Appeal erred greatly in finding that the President can be sued in his personal capacity during his term of office for anything done or not done while he executes the duty of the president. We break that argument, my lords, into three aspects. And the first one is, what is the context in which this finding was made? We refer your lordships to paragraphs 7 and 10 of our written submissions, where we cover the background. And it is very important to note, my lords, that the Court of Appeal came to this conclusion despite the fact that the president had been sued not in respect of a private or personal matter, but in respect of matters that he handled, and clearly was stated in the Kenya Gazette and the other government documents that he did this in his capacity as president, head of state, and a commander of the defense forces of the Republic. My lords, that takes me now to the presidential immunity. We cover these in paragraphs 11 and 15 of our written submissions on what we perceive or understand to be the presidential immunity. In our humble submission, my lords, this is a very important time whereby the court is being asked to rule on this important matter for the first time. And it's only fair that everything that bears on it should be brought to the court. My lords, the first point of call is Article 143, sub-Article 2 of the Constitution. Without any qualification, my lords, the article provides for immunity in the following words: civil proceedings shall not be instituted in any court against the president or the person performing the functions of that office during their tenure of office in respect of anything done or not done in the exercise of those powers under this Constitution. Two things that are important. I will be juxtaposing this against judicial immunity. It will be noted there is no qualification to the immunity granted by Article 143(2). Indeed, our submission, my lords, is this. This immunity granted under Article 143, sub-Article 2, is in absolute terms in regard to functions of the president, where he may commit a civil wrong. Before we go further, I would like to pose the question, my lords, what is the rationale for presidential immunity? Presidential immunity is not unique to Kenya. It is a doctrine that has been adopted in many of the presidential systems. And out of the many reasons given for justification of this immunity, allow me to refer to three in a very brief manner. The first one, my lords, and this is very important, it serves to avoid destruction of the president in order to ensure effective governance of the country. No one would deny that the office of a head of state is an exacting office. And if it were that it was allowed for every Tom, Dick, and Harry to file suits against the president, it would distract him from performing the more important duties for running the state. This argument, my lords, is very well developed in the American case of Nixon and Fitzgerald. It is found on volume 9 of our, volume 9, page 1314 of the Attorney General's Board of Authorities. We would also request you to have a look at our written submissions, paragraphs 28 to 30, in that regard. The second point that can be taken in regard to the need for this immunity is the interest of national security. Again, it cannot be doubted, my lords, that in the course of doing his work, the president is fed with a lot of information regarding the national security. And not just that, he is also the chief diplomat for the country in dealing with other countries of the world. And in the course of doing this, he gets a lot of information that is useful to the state. One would wish that it will never come to a point where a court would order the president to make a disclosure. Why did you do this? What are the reasons that made you make this decision? It would clearly be not in the interest of the state, for the reason that it can injure the interest of the state in a very big way. So one of the justifications for presidential immunity is the preservation of national security. A third one I would like to mention, my lords, is the need to protect the dignity of the office of the president. It cannot again be doubted, but there are three main organs of state under our constitutional setup. And that those institutions require to act in a dignified manner so that the public can have confidence in them. One would not want at any one time to see a president being ordered to come to court and to account for his actions. To come to court at the pain of being put to jail if he doesn't. It would, in our view, be very bad for the three arms of state that are supposed to work together. It would create serious tensions that would not be good for the country. I would like to make some brief reference to the idea of juxtaposing presidential immunity and judicial immunity. Your lordships have been referred to this case time and again, Bellevue Development Company Limited, against Judges Francis Gekonyo and 7 others. I had the fortune to be involved in the prosecution of this case from the High Court to the Supreme Court. One of the things that came out very clearly in interpreting judicial immunity in that matter was this. The judicial immunity extends as long as somebody is acting in good faith and you are doing your official work. And when it came to interpretation, if that were to be regarded as a limitation, when it came to interpretation of Article 106, the lordships were very clear that despite those apparent qualifications, this was absolute and there was not going to be some kind of an interpretation that allows suits to be filed against judges, and then the issue of whether he or she was acting in good should come to be considered. Because by the fact of allowing a suit against a judge, it means already you have subjected him to trouble for coming to a particular decision. And so, my lords, when you retire, I request you to consider, or rather compare, the provisions of Article 106 in regard to judicial immunity and Article 143. When you do that, my lords, you'll find that in Article 143,